Every one of your thoughts falls into one of two categories. Your thoughts are either going to fall into the category of fear. So that's literally any anxious thought, any fearful thought, obviously, any stress thought. Any thought that isn't coming from a place of love is going to fall into the fear category. And this is your default. This is every human being's default. This is how our brains have evolved to literally find fear and negativity so addictive. Why do you think on the news, our brains aren't meant to know all the negative things that are happening all over the world? They've not evolved to have that much negativity enter our minds. Why do you think the news only talks about the really scary negative things that are happening in the world? There are hundreds of thousands of positive things happening every day. There's millions and hundreds of millions of good people every day doing little good acts of kindness. But we will never hear about that. Our brains are addicted to the fear and the negativity. And until you become extremely aware of that and you build that self-awareness muscle, which is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be giving you so many different action steps that have helped me go from a constant state, just a foundation of fear. This is a miserable place to be in because you're always controlling everything. When you're living in fear, you have absolutely no trust and you can't let go of things. So instead of living in the present, you're never in the present. Think about how many of these you relate to, or if it's all, because this was me about 5 years ago. This was me. I was always trying to control everything. I knew that I wanted to be a certain kind of person. I wanted a better life for myself, but I wasn't coming from a place of love. I was coming from a place of fear. And every single moment of the day, my thoughts were never in the present. They were always, I have to do this, this, and this, and this. And I was in a hypervigilant state. My nervous system was always overly stimulated, which is why I struggled for so many years with so many health problems as well. You're constantly going to be living on stress hormones and you're constantly going to be living in the 3D. And when you're living in the 3D, this is a really amazing concept to understand. You can't manifest, you can't create a better life for yourself. But what happens when you understand this concept and you start to build that self-awareness muscle and you start to create those thoughts of love? When you're operating from a place of love, you start to manifest without even trying. You're living in high frequency. But most importantly, you just feel peace. You feel mental peace. You feel joy. And one thing I really want you to understand is joy is your birthright. So many of us have been conditioned to think that being really happy, feeling that actual overwhelming feeling of joy is not normal. That is your birthright. Of course we're going to feel negative emotions. Of course we can't be happy or feel joy all the time. But I went from literally feeling so stressed out, so crazy, my thoughts being from such a negative place of mind, to literally feeling a really profound sense of joy most days. And I never, ever, ever thought that could be possible for me. And if it's possible for me, it is 100% possible for you. And I'm going to share all the things I've done over the last 5 years, because I first discovered all of this over 6 years ago. But my brain kept making me forget. It kept making me forget about this, about everything that I can benefit from if I start to implement loving thoughts instead of giving in to my fearful thoughts. Because you really have to build that self-awareness muscle. Think about it. Your brain, I'm sorry, that's a really bad, that was meant to be your brain. I don't know, a weird shaped brain, right? Yeah, that's your brain. That is a product of the past. And every single thought you've had, every single action you've done, it's all formed these neurological networks in your brain. And these neurological networks are really strong. And they're running your automatic programs. Even most people think that they're in conscious control. They're not. That's a really, really scary thing, because one day you're going to be 80, 90 years old and you'll realize that you were never in control and that you didn't live the life that you wanted to live. And to me, that is the scariest thing. But you can overcome that right now by understanding that you can rewire your neurological networks. It just takes building that self-awareness muscle every day. People all the time say affirmations don't work. Affirmations don't work. Of course they don't work, because you tried them for 1 week. You woke up and you said, I'm maybe your old patterns came in and said, I'm tired, I hate my boss, I don't want to go to work, I'm stressed. And then you're like, no, let me try to be positive. I'm going to have a great day and I'm going to feel really good about myself. Wow, okay, so suddenly you created new neurons firing in your brain and you created a new neurological network. But this is your old one. This is your old neurological network that you've built over years. It's so strong because for years and years and years, you've had the same thoughts, the same repeating thoughts, and a lot of us don't even realize it. And it just takes over. And then you did it for a week and thought affirmations don't work. But what if you committed to this every day for years? Think about how long you've been living in a stressed or negative or fearful state of mind. Think about how long you've been dreaming of a better life for yourself and you haven't yet received it. It's just because you're being run by your old neurological programs, by your old neurological networks. And something I realized that completely changed everything for me is that it's actually way simpler than we make it out to be. A lot of the time when we're living from stress and control, it's just because we've adopted these limiting beliefs from childhood. That becoming happy, becoming successful is not easy. That you need to work really hard and you need to suffer before you're allowed to be happy. That you need to accomplish 100 different things every day before you're allowed to rest. These are just limiting beliefs and they're actually stopping you from manifesting the life that you want because you can't manifest from a place of control and stress and fear. So how do you go from thoughts of fear and how do you build that self-awareness muscle and how do you implement those loving thoughts? The first thing you need to remember is your presence is your power. We are so overly stimulated, we can't even sit with our own thoughts. That's why our thoughts are so unpleasant to be with. Once you start to remove the stimulation and you start to implement all these things I'm going to be talking about, you're going to realize that your presence is your power. That is when you manifest. And my best ideas have always come to me in silence. Any solutions, any problems I have in my life and any solutions I'm seeking, it's literally in silence. It's when I'm not being overly stimulated. I'm not just distracting myself by being on my phone. I'm not just binge watching TV. All things that I have done multiple times. And 6 years ago, I was really struggling. And I'd already been struggling for a few years. And I remember I would just be walking and I would have these angry thoughts. And then I would become really, really sad. And my thoughts just controlled my life. They controlled my reality. And I didn't know what to do about it. And I was open to anything. And then I found this book, The Universe Has Your Back. And I didn't particularly grow up believing in God or believing in a higher power or religious at all. But I was tired. I was tired of trying to do everything myself. When you're trying to do everything yourself, you're living from a place of fear. You're trying to control everything, right? This book says either you can learn from a place of love or you can learn from a place of fear. You can forgive your fearful thoughts. You can forgive your angry thoughts and you can replace them with loving ones. And so I just started to do that, even though I didn't believe it, when I was angry, but I built that self-awareness muscle. I would be angry or sad or scared or anxious and my thoughts would be racing and I would recognize them and I would say a mantra like, I witness that I'm out of alignment with my power and I choose to see peace instead of this. I just picked 2 or 3 mantras I really liked. I witnessed my fear, I stepped back and I let the universe lead the way. And I started telling myself, I trust that the universe has my back. I trust that everything is happening for me. And if you take a good look at your life, if you take a good look at all the struggles, at all the things that you have been through, mentally, physically, what have you overcome? And has it made you a better person because of it? Because I truly believe the struggles that you are going through, the universe is setting them as lessons to help you step into your highest self. For me, falling sick, having, struggles with my health, even the toxic relationship that was sent into my life that then, led to some of my digestive issues because I was so stressed out. Best thing that ever happened to me. At the time when I was going through that toxic relationship, I was really depressed and I thought I'll never recover from this. And now, in hindsight, I'm like, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. This journey was the best thing that ever happened to me. When my skin gets really bad these days, because of a lot of the things I'm going to teach you, I've shifted from fearful to loving thoughts. So even when things are maybe not going to plan, my skin's getting really bad, my gut health's not that great, I get excited because I'm like, okay, the universe is trying to make me a better person. It's trying to teach me some lessons. How can I don't put myself down and say, which I used to do all the time because I've struggled with my skin since my early 20s. I used to do all the time. I would literally become so scared, put all my attention to my skin. I'd be so insecure going out. My biggest fear is people would see me with my bad skin. But all my attention was going to it. And guess what? People will perceive you the way that you perceive yourself. And I was carrying myself in a very insecure way. And now, even if I, wake up and my skin's not that great, I just tell myself, I love you, and I get it. I get that I can maybe relax a little bit more. I get that I can maybe be a bit more present with my food, and I can do whatever I can to improve my gut health, to eat a little bit better, and I get excited, maybe try a new supplement. I get so excited by it now because I'm like, wow, this is an opportunity for me to be better, because I know every struggle that I've ever gone through in my past life, in relationships, in friendships, with my health, with my family, they've all taught me the lessons that have helped me become the person I am today, and I am so grateful for that. And the same will apply to you. And that's a really powerful thing you can do as well, to shift the way that you view things. Something I started doing, the first step is to build that self-awareness muscle. So as soon as you start spiraling and your thoughts are going to a place of fear, negativity, anxiety, maybe you really want to be a better person and you really want to go to the gym, but then your thoughts start spiraling, right? First step is to become self-aware, and then you implement a loving thought. And you let the fearful thought go to the universe. The universe can take it from you. Just let it go. Just say, I witnessed my fear. I let it go to the universe. I know that everything's happening for me. The next thing you can do is the breath. The breath can always bring you back to the present moment. Your body does hundreds of thousands of millions of tasks without you even asking it to. There's no way you can control it. There's no way you can't make your heart stop beating. You can't stop your food from digesting. Guess what? The only thing nature made unconscious in your body and conscious is your breath. There's a reason for that. Your breath can always bring you back into the present. So you feel yourself spiraling, you use that self-awareness muscle, you make that commitment to yourself. Your brain will listen to anything you tell it to. You tell yourself, from now on, when I know that my thoughts are going to fearful and I'm living in this kind of place, I'm going to become self-aware. I'm going to implement a loving mantra. I'm going to implement a loving thought to myself, a loving affirmation. Either that first, or you connect with your breath. You come back to your breath. You come back to your body. Once you're in the body, you're in the present. You can wiggle your toes. You say a loving mantra, and then whatever the action is that maybe your brain is making you scared to do, something which really helped me is no longer use the term I have to. You're not going to say I have to anymore. I have to go to the gym. I have to do this meeting. I have to make content. I have to do this. I have to do that. You're going to change it to I get to. And another thing that I want you to do that was extremely life-changing for me, your brain, anytime you want to change, you want to become a better person, it will do everything to keep you the same, and it will use fear to do it. Okay, but your thoughts aren't real. Your thoughts are not real. So remember that. So when your thoughts are coming into your brain, you're like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, and then you start to believe it, you can tell yourself this is not real. But another thing that you can do, because your thoughts are extremely powerful, you can start using that to your advantage. What if it doesn't work out? But what if it does? This is something I say to myself all the time. What if it does? What if it does? What if it does? Why can't it work out for you? Why can't everything you've ever dreamed of work out for you? There's a reason it's your dream. It's because it's meant to be your life's purpose, your soul's purpose. That is literally the source telling you this is what you're meant to be doing. That's why you have a dream. Because there's a reality, a parallel reality where you are already living that way. You can imagine it because it already is possible for you. So what if it does work out? Do you think 5-6 years ago, I knew that I was going to be running a business and selling gua shas and having created my own, beautiful gua sha and facial reflexology? Do you think I knew what any of those things were? Or that I was maybe going to be making YouTube videos, or that I was going to be a content creator? 5 years ago, none of that existed for me. None of that. And I I started practicing these things, right? And I didn't try to control anything, and I didn't worry about the how. You don't need to worry about the how. Once you're having loving thoughts and you're like, how am I going to create my dream reality? It's so far away. I can't even see that for myself. How? You don't have to worry about the how. That is not your job. Worrying about the how is trying to control. You do not need to worry about the how. You need to believe, you need to have loving thoughts and believe that anything is possible for you, that your dream is possible for you. Because when you believe it's possible for you, opportunities just come your way. Like the craziest opportunities have come my way. All I knew when I started my job, I was just turned 22, is that I was never going to be happy doing this job. I was a financial advisor, and I trained to be a financial advisor. I did it for 5 years, and I would always think to myself, I want to do something I really love. I want to be really passionate about something. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I was always looking. I was always trying to grow and learn, and it wasn't easy, and every day wasn't perfect. I also had a lot of bad habits, but I would still get up and try to be better every single day. After about 3 years of working this job, after a really dark time in the first lockdown, I started to heal, and I got this huge inspiration from the universe. And the universe said, you know, start a blog, start a health wellness page. And I started doing that. And then the universe was like, do content. I started doing content. I was just making content for free for years. I was always learning because I just loved it. I was like, if there's any way I can be a better version of myself, I'm just going to keep showing up and keep trying to make good content. Even though I wasn't huge or anything, you know, I only had a couple thousand followers on Instagram. And the next thing you know, the universe just gave me an idea. I still remember it. It was summer 2021. And I literally was like, oh my God, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to create this magnesium supplement for making magnesium rich water. I'm going to do a facial reflexology wand. And then my future business idea products came to me as well. And then fast forward, I leave my job. And it's really, you know, it's really stressful. But I have to get a part-time job because it is stressful, and every month you don't know how much money you're going to make. And it's hard, you know, like it's very easy to go back into this place. If I had known all of this and been really aware of it 6 years ago and really implemented it, I probably would have got there a lot sooner. But my brain was always bringing me back to the fear, to the control, to the stress, because that's what I knew. Okay, and then I started implementing these things again. And I remember I got a part-time job and I had to work maybe like 20 hours a week to make enough part-time income, you know, so I was a little bit more comfortable, because every month when you have your own business, you don't know how much money you're gonna make. I was still very new, I was growing. I really didn't enjoy a part-time job. It was like in a bakery. I only did it for about 3 to 4 months. And fast forward another 6 months, I had been very stressed about money those 6 months. You know, that's something a lot of people don't know, that I really had been quite stressed about it. I was really trying to budget everything. I was living from a place of stress and control and fear. And then I just thought, like, this isn't sustainable. Like, I'm just torturing myself. I'm just going to let go. I'm just going to trust, because when you're coming from stress and control and fear, I was like, I can only make money this way, and this way. There was no other possible pathways for me to make money in my brain. And so I was literally repelling it. I wasn't even able to attract it. And then I remembered and I started implementing these loving thoughts again. And I just thought, I'm just going to let go. And I'm just going to trust, and I'm just going to have fun, because what is the point of living life from a place of stress and fear? What is your 80, 90-year-old self going to want for you? Are they not going to come and kick you for living your life this way? That's not what's important. What's going to be important to you at the end of your life, if we're lucky enough to live that long, is being present and enjoying every single day, you know, appreciating your relationships, showing up as your best self. But anyway, get how crazy this is. I let go, and literally out of nowhere, I still can't believe this happens sometimes, but out of nowhere, this guy reaches out to me. I think we had a mutual friend that, you know, suggested me, this guy is opening up a really, really nice, in the city center where I live, a really nice sauna ice bath center. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's like a place where you can go for the sauna and then go for an ice bath. And I had never taught any classes before, but he knew in his head that he wanted someone to teach a gua sha class. And obviously at this point, I have a business, I sell, I have my own gua shas I've created that I sell. And yeah, he reaches out to me, we meet, and I'm just like, my intuition is just like, just do it. You know, it all kind of just works out perfectly. There's a bunch of other teachers there. They've all taught elsewhere. I haven't taught at all, but I was like, I'm going to do this. This job, I spend 2 hours in it a week, and I make the same I would have made in 20 hours. And I get to use my products. This job just came out of nowhere. So people literally, I teach a class in the sauna. I love being in the sauna, and people literally use my products. I get to promote my business at the same time. I only do 2.5 hours a week, and I make the same as what I made before, if not more. And on top of that, I was introduced to ice baths, which I wouldn't have done when I was struggling with high stress before. But incorporating a few ice baths here and there over the last 6 months has actually made tremendous leaps for my health. So the job in itself has made me so much healthier and so much more confident. And it literally just came out of nowhere. So your only job is to realize your presence is your power, and to come back to loving thoughts, and to start rewiring your brain and building new neurological networks. And you do that by just trusting. You just gotta let go and trust that there's a greater power that's looking out for you, that every struggle you're facing is for your greater good. It's so that you can learn the lessons you need to learn to step into your highest potential, into your true life's purpose. And another thing is, once you start to get really good at this and you start to practice slowing down and coming back to stillness and coming back to silence, that is where the miracles happen. That is where you're going to get your ideas and your intuition from source. I rarely just sit and I don't even watch anybody else's videos when I'm planning my own videos, because I don't like to be swayed by what they're saying in my own videos, because I know that I'm just going to get that information from source. It's just going to come into my brain, and that's exactly what it does. And it's when I'm sitting in my meditation, or I'm not on my phone, I'm just sitting and I'm just breathing and learning to be with myself and just appreciating those moments. That's when the ideas come. I'm so used to it now. I don't even fight it in my meditations, or if I'm just sitting there, I make sure there's always time for me to just sit in stillness, because that is where you can listen to your own thoughts. That is where you can learn about yourself. That is when your ideas are going to come to you. That's when the problems you're having, the solutions are going to come to you. It's literally, the silence is where the magic happens. It's where the miracles happen. It's where you connect to the universe and to the source. And I promise you, you already have everything within you. Any problems you're facing, the solutions are there. You just have to listen. Listen. You have to learn to listen. The intuition's always there. When I was on my healing journey, people would always message me, how do you know this? When I was making content, how do you know this? How do you know all of this? I was always listening. I listened to a podcast, they'd mention a book, I'd go buy the book. I'd read the book, they'd mention something else, I'd go read that. I was constantly just listening. I wouldn't try to do everything, but my intuition, I would trust my intuition that what I was hearing was the right thing. And if my gut was telling me go learn about it, then I did. And so slowing yourself down as well, making sure there's time to remove that stimulation. Your attention is your most valuable asset. Please, please, if there's one thing you take away from this video, I hope you take a lot more. Your attention is your most valuable asset. I'm sure you've heard people say time is your most valuable asset. It's your attention. Well, this doesn't matter. Everyone has the same 24 hours in the day, but if someone's extremely overly stimulated, distracted, hooked on cheap dopamine, wake up, check your phone straight away, scrolling for hours, doesn't matter that you have 24 hours a day. It's all going to waste, because you're giving your attention away. Your attention is your energy. Your thoughts and your habits are your energy, and you're just giving them away. You're giving them away to your phone, Instagram, Snapchat, your boss, your partner, your kid, every fearful thought. You're just giving all of your energy away. But when you come back to your presence, you come back to loving thoughts, you come back to awareness, you're taking your energy back. And you're having, you're getting your creative energy back, because you're an extremely creative person if you haven't already realized. I never thought I was a creative person. Every single person is a creative person. But the problem is you're giving all your creative energy away to the known, to the past, to the fear, instead of coming back to the present. And something you can do if you find yourself spiraling a lot, when you are operating from a place of stress, you can find yourself getting into arguments with people in your head, getting really stressed out about things, making up worst case scenarios. And now that you're giving your energy away to them. If someone's wronged you, a friend has betrayed you, they've wronged you, they've not treated you well, if a boss, a coworker, if you're mad at someone, or you're just creating up scenarios, your partner, your kids, anyone, you're just giving your energy away to these scenarios which aren't even going to happen. And so one thing I started doing, I think there's a very high chance a lot of you watching this are going to be empaths. You're going to be highly sensitive. You're going to be highly caring, empathetic, compassionate. You feel a lot. You always want to give a lot. Something I used to do a lot of the time when I realized I was spiraling, I'd come back to the present moment and I would say, I take my energy back. And then I'd close my eyes and I'd imagine this golden thread tying me and that person. And I would take a scissor and I would just cut that thread or a ribbon, and I would just cut it. and I would just cut the energetic tie to me and that person. And then maybe say a positive mantra, I recognize this and I let it go. So you have to remember that your brain will believe anything you tell it. You might need to do it quite a few times so that you can build new neurological networks. Every time before I have to go to a dance class, my brain starts going, it's in the evening, I don't want to go, I want to sit on the couch, I don't want to drive, what if you don't get parking? But I just tell myself, I implement new thoughts and I tell myself, no, it's going to be great. It's always great. So why wouldn't it be great? Everything's going to be absolutely fine. When I was a financial advisor, I was a very young financial advisor. I got my qualification by the time I was 24. And I was like, I had a bunch of clients that I was given as part of my company. And these clients tended to be 40 to 50 years older than me. So I started struggling with imposter syndrome, being like, who am I, a 24-year-old, to be advising these like 60, 70-year-old people what to do with their money, or to be on these like calls with them for 2 hours giving them advice? Like, but then what I would start to do, I was, even though I was fully qualified, fully trained, I was supervised, the company was very diligent and I really cared. I wanted to make sure I was doing the best that I could. Before every client call, the thoughts were racing. I was nervous about it. I would be nervous about it the night before. Before every client call for a minute, I remember I would tell my training supervisor, I just need a minute to do my affirmations. And I'd sit there and I'd just close my eyes and I'd be like, I would say it as if the meeting had already been done. I would tell my brain, I'd be like, that was such a great meeting. I, said everything that the clients needed to hear. I really helped them. We got on really well. I was really articulate. I was really eloquent. I was able to offer them really valuable advice. And every single client call went great for the years that I did it. And in the complete years that I did it, not once did a client ever question my age or my suitability in giving them advice. So these thoughts, they're just made up in your head to scare you from changing, to stepping into your full potential. Every weekend when I go teach these sauna gua sha classes, I literally have never not had the best time. I absolutely love it. I love teaching classes. I love the energy. I love just, being with everyone there and them using these products, and like everyone's just buzzing off dopamine from the ice baths, and it's just awesome. But every weekend, without fail, my brain tells me, oh, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go. I wish I didn't have this job. And I'm just there like, hello, we have proof. I just tell myself, no, this isn't true. These thoughts aren't true. I know I'm going to go and I'm going to have a great time. And then that's it. That's the question over. And so that's one of the best ways you can rewire your beliefs. Of course, you want to be following these steps, but action is how you give yourself proof. If your brain's telling you, I can't go to the gym in the morning because of this, this, and this, and I'm tired, if you go to the gym in the morning, you're going to feel amazing. And then you're going to have that proof. And every time you layer on that proof, you're going, those thoughts that are coming, you're going to be able to overcome them so much faster. This goes with every single habit that you want to take. Taking action is the quickest way to rewire those beliefs. Understand that those thoughts are just trying to keep you stuck in your old ways. Taking action, leaving the house and doing new things and going to places and meeting people is the quickest way to change, rewire your beliefs. Do those things that your brain has been telling you, that the source has been telling you want to do. I want to go to that event. I want to go to that class. I want to go work here. I want to go to a cafe. Leave the house. Take action. Do something new. That is one of the quickest and easiest ways to give yourself proof, to build that confidence, to build your character. Because another thing is, if you constantly tell yourself, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and you never do it, you're constantly breaking promises to yourself. Your brain's never going to believe you. Next time you say you're going to do something, it's going to be like, ha, 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 ha. I know that my fearful thoughts are going to make her stay safe, or make him stay safe and stuck at home. It's going to be really good. Your brain's super smart. It's going to be telling you all those thoughts that kept you safe and stuck at home because it's worked before. But if you've made a promise to your best friend, yeah, I'll come to this dance class with you. Yeah, I'll come meet you there. You never break that promise to your best friend. But no, you have no problem breaking it to yourself. Honey, you have to live this life like you are your number one fan. Like that you literally just love yourself so much, and you've made a commitment to yourself that I will do everything that I can. I will do hard things every day so that I can show you that I am here for you. Be your mother, self-mother yourself. And if you made it this far, I appreciate you. I understand that sometimes it's not as easy as just saying loving thoughts and feeling better. For me, for the longest time, I couldn't feel better just by saying loving thoughts, even though I was still building that habit. And something that I started doing is I started implementing a physical action that physically calmed my mind and calmed my body and lowered stress and inflammation in my body. And I started implementing loving thoughts. So something which is really powerful if you need a habit, you might already have something where you know, hey, if I'm feeling stressed, if I'm feeling fearful and negative, if I do this, I know it makes me feel better. For me, it was promoting lymphatic drainage with my gua sha tool. And it was simple. I have some routines on my YouTube channel. Doing this, doing a 5-minute routine all over my neck while saying positive affirmations, saying things like I deserve to rest, you know, everything's working out for me. That was an extremely powerful thing, because sometimes this is what I tell my coaching clients. If you just focus on the mind alone, you can receive great results. If you just focus on the physical, you can receive great results. But when you combine them together, the physical and the mental, because it's all connected, as I'm sure you know, your results are going to be amazing and you're going to receive them much faster. If you're also really struggling with stress and volatile emotions, just like I had been for the longest time, something that has completely changed the game for me is making a really natural electrolyte elixir at home. You know, mental health is so important, and when you're getting enough minerals in every day, you're just making things easier for yourself. I think I'm going to be making future videos about this, but minerals are key to having good nervous system health, to having good mental health, to feeling resilient, to not feeling anxious. I've had people tell me that after drinking this magnesium bicarbonate water, they haven't had a panic attack or really strong anxiety since they started drinking it. It's all really connected, you know? So connecting the mental and the physical and finding positive habits, physical habits that you can do every day that are improving your health is going to get you there way faster. I believe in you, I'm excited for you, and I'll see you in the next video.